What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. If you are not new here, hey girl, hey. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. And if you are new here, my name is Jazz. Welcome to my channel where I talk about all things fitness, business, locks, and just life in general. Today I'm coming at you guys with a lock video. And today I'm going to be discussing what to consider before starting your microlocks. When I was first considering starting Microlocs, I was clueless. I had no idea how I was going to do it, how to maintain it, if I was going to do it, if a loctician was going to do it. And y'all, I binged on so many YouTube videos. It was really similar to what I did when I first was thinking about going back natural. Now that I am 4 years into my DIY microlock journey, I wanted to create a video letting y'all know what to consider, what to think about, what to expect when you start your microlocks. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first question to consider, the first thing to think about before starting your microlocks is, are you going to be DIY? Are you going to do it yourself? Or are you going to go to a loctician? So like I said before, I personally decided to go the DIY route. So I established my own locks. I retie my own hair every 6 to 8 weeks. I do everything myself. I have never been to a loctician. There are people that do go to locticians to both get them established and then to have their hair interlocked, retired, palm rolled, whatever type of maintenance they choose to get. And I am not here to tell you that one option is better than the other, but there are pros and cons. There are things to consider when you are choosing which route you're going to go. And as someone who went the DIY route, I will 100% say that it is not for everybody. I will definitely say 100% the number one pro, and this is the reason that I decided to go this route. Number one is I felt like I was going to be able to do it. Number two is because DIY is definitely cheaper. You're going to be able to start your locks and maintain your locks for essentially free. However, what you're going to spend more of is time and effort, because I am telling you, it takes a while to establish your locks, especially if you have a lot of hair, if you have a lot of density, a lot of thickness, especially if you want super tiny locks. And then it is then going to be very time consuming to maintain your hair after you establish your locks. You're going to need to retie or interlock your hair every 6 to 8 weeks or so. You're going to have to learn to interlock your hair. And that in and of itself is a lengthy process. It takes time, it takes practice. I watched video after video after video learning to retie my hair. So before you decide to go that route, just be cognizant of that. Just remember that. If that doesn't sound like something you want to deal with, if you would rather pay for convenience, then a loctician is going to be a better option for you. Now, and this is something that I've talked about in some of my other videos, here in 2025, microlocks are way more popular than they were when I first started. So that price has gone up. They are in more demand, so now they're going to be more expensive, especially to get them established. It's going to be pretty costly. I've seen people charge over $1,000 to get your microlocks established. And this is not me saying how much they should cost. This is not me saying people are overcharging. I'm not in that industry, so I'm not going to tell a professional how much they should or shouldn't be charging. All I know is I'm not about to spend that much money. But you're also getting a professional service. You're getting someone to do this service for you. You don't have to worry about doing it yourself. You're not going to have to go through that learning curve. You're not going to have to spend all that time and effort. So if you are someone that is more than willing to pay for convenience, then the route of the loctician is going to be the right route for you. Before you start your microlocks, just really compare those pros and cons. There's no wrong or right answer. You just got to do what's best for you. And the second thing to consider before starting your microlocks, and this kind of piggybacks off just what we just discussed, but before you start your microlocks, you need to consider the upkeep, the maintenance of locks. And a lot of people will tell you that locks are easier than having loose, unlocked natural hair. I would say that that's kind of true. It's definitely easier on a day-to-day basis, but you also have to maintain your new growth every 6 to 8 weeks or so. And that is something that you need to do for the life of your locks. And like I was saying before, you're either going to have to pay for it in time and effort, or you're going to have to pay for it in actual money. Which one would you rather do? Yeah, so about whether or not locks are more maintenance, I would say, in my personal opinion, yes, I do think it's less maintenance, but more so on a day-to-day basis. I have to sit down for hours every 8 weeks and retie my hair. So with that time that I save on a daily basis, I kind of have to spend it all every 2 months just to maintain my hair. So just remember, it's not about establishing your locks and then you can just kind of like the work is done from there. No, you do have to upkeep it every so often. All right, number 3 on my list is, are you ready to say goodbye to your loose, unlocked, natural hair? Are you ready to let it go? Because I will say this, it is different. Locked hair versus unlocked hair is different. And I will say this, yes, locks are still extremely versatile. They're very versatile. I believe they're more versatile than people give them credit for, but it is different. You won't be able to get blowouts and silk presses. Sure, some people still get braids and faux locks over their locks, but it's different. It is not the same. Yes, technically you can still put wigs over your locks. Early on in my lock journey, before my locks were mature and when they were a lot shorter, I did wigs. For me, if I were to put a wig over my hair at this point, it would probably be a lot harder to get my wig to lay flat. So I don't even know if that's something that I would do right now. I don't have Chloe and Hallie's hairstylist. I don't have that type of money or access to get a wig laid flat for me. So that's not something that I would even consider doing at this point. So a lot of those styles that we loved when we had loose natural hair, when we were unlocked, they're just not going to hit the same, to be for real. So you have to be prepared for that. Are you ready to give those things up? Now, again, like I said, locks are very versatile and you're going to be able to do so many different styles, but it's going to be different. Just consider the fact that you're going to have to embrace something different than you've been used to. That is not a bad thing. You just have to make sure that that is something that you're ready to do. And the fourth thing that I would say to consider before starting your micro locks is to be prepared if you don't like them or you want to start over, that you either need to comb them out or cut them off. Now, if you are early on in your journey, if you are still in your transitioning phase, if you still have starter locks, then it's going to be a lot easier to either undo the 2-strand twists and go back to your original natural hair. Depending on the texture of your hair or how quick it locks, you will have a little bit of time at the beginning of your journey. But once your hair starts to mature, once it starts to lock, if you decide that you don't want locks anymore, you're either going to have to comb them out or cut them off. People say that locks are permanent, but locks are not permanent. However, it is a process to start over. Combing your locks out takes forever. It takes a lot of effort. And if you cut your locks off, then you essentially have to start over with your hair. You have to consider, are you ready to start over or go through a lengthy, difficult process to get back to your natural hair? Again, this is not something that's necessarily bad. It's just something to consider. There are going to be a lot of people that don't want to go through all that. And if you are on the fence about whether or not you want locks, and you are also someone that really doesn't want to go through the process of starting over, then really consider that before you take that leap. And the fifth and last thing on my list of things to consider before you start your micro locks is that understand that you are going to have to trust the process. And I say this again because this is probably the biggest and most important piece of information, and the most important thing to remember is that you have to trust the process. It is going to take time for your locks to fully mature. It took my hair more than 2 years, and it was honestly closer to 3 years before my locks matured. You're gonna go through a shrinking process. It's going to appear to get shorter. You're gonna go through an awkward phase. It's gonna be hard to style. Your hair is going to have a mind of its own for a while. And a lot of people don't make it through that phase. People don't have the patience. A lot of people don't like what it looks like, so they give up. And there's nothing wrong with that. They just decided that it wasn't for them. But I want to let y'all know ahead of time just so you know what to expect. Just so you don't say, well, oh, locks are not for me. They don't look right on me. Not that they don't look right on you. You just have to make it through that phase. You have to give them time to mature. I promise you, what your hair looks like at year 1 is not going to be what it looks like at year 4. It's going to look completely different. It's going to look way better. But you have to trust the process. You have to give it time. I can almost guarantee that a lot of the people that give up at year 1, if they just simply waited out the process, they would love what their hair looked like at year 4. I don't want to make it sound like those people did something wrong by quitting. At the end of the day, it's their life, it's their hair. So you have to decide for yourself. Is it worth it to you? If you are someone that really likes instant gratification, you don't like to wait, you're really impatient, then maybe locks just aren't for you. You got to be ready to go through the process. You got to be ready to trust the process. You got to be ready to try to be patient. And I say this as an impatient person. I am not at all a patient person. I did stick it out and I have absolutely no regrets. So with all that being said, I would 100% recommend anyone who is considering microlocks to get microlocks. But please listen to this video, watch this video, think about all the things I said, and really consider, is this for me? Is this something that I can go through with? Is this something that I'm going to be able to deal with? It's completely okay if it's not. But if you're thinking about locks, girl, yes, do it. Yes. That is my resounding answer. If you're thinking about locks, I would 100% recommend them. You just need to be ready to go through the process. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video here. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for sticking around. Please go ahead and like, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.